Hey there, my name is April and I'm here in Ontario, Canada. I am so excited to be here today to share some of my story with you. Growing up, my childhood, I don't actually remember much of it. I know I grew up in a loving family, sports was part of my life, but I also remember being bullied all through elementary school and all that. Growing up, we were also taught about stranger danger in my, what's the word? My generation. That's what we were taught about. We never really knew what abuse looked like or what would it feel like. It was just more of this is a stranger, you got to avoid them sort of thing. So that's what it was like in the 90s for me. Could have been different for other people. That was like for me growing up in the city. I didn't realize my abuse growing up and the other traumas I suffered from until 2020, literally days before we went into our first lockdown. I was diagnosed with PTSD. And then months later, I was also diagnosed with complex PTSD. And it was a lot of steps in that to figure out what happened, why I suffer traumas. And it ranged from when I was a little kid, can't tell you what age, but up till like my adult life. And really it started with bullying. Like that's one form of abuse people really don't think of is bullying. And I was bullied through elementary, high school, and even to my first year of college. And that's really hard on someone. And I was hurting really bad. And just, I went through a lot of changes in my body too. Like I gained weight from grade 4, 5 up until like my first year of college, end of high school. Weight slowly started to come off, but sometimes I was bullied on my weight. I was bullied by people who I thought were my friends in school, being told how I should look and act, and that's another way is kind of abusive too. I've survived emotional abuse, mental abuse, just so much, and it's difficult. It's difficult to talk about. It's difficult to come to terms with. I was in denial for a long time. And sometimes abuse comes in ways of assault as well. So I was actually assaulted in a mall a few years ago. And it just, what people think was something innocent was actually not. And I still live with those flashbacks. And I still live with like parts of that day. I feel disgusted. And it's just eye-opening how some people still don't see these actions as abusive or don't see these actions as traumatizing. Because trauma doesn't just happen to those in who go to war. Trauma doesn't happen the moment after the traumatic event. And that's the one thing with abuse. Like you don't realize until years later what you're actually, experiencing. I've experienced gaslighting. I experienced people controlling me, and that's abuse in other ways too. So growing up, we were never made aware of that type of abuse. And now my eyes have opened even further because in 2020, I took charge of my own healing. I decided I was falling back on my background in recreation and leisure and decided to do research on myself. I started wood burning, watercolor, getting active again, going outside in nature, and just really noticing how that really impacted my self-healing journey. And through all that, like I started to notice how I was healing, not faster, but like my healing journey was going a lot better because in 2012, I was actually diagnosed with depression. And then in 2016, after a relationship ended unexpectedly, I was diagnosed with anxiety. And little did I know my depression and anxiety were rooted from trauma, not root cause, rooted from them. And that was really eye-opening for me. And then as 2021 went on, I continued in my self-healing journey. I started to, speaking out, sharing my story more because in the past I have tried to share my story and was silenced. And I knew that was not right? And a lot of people won't share about the bad and the ugly parts of mental health either. They'll share the good things. And if they share something negative, it's like the toxic positivity on top. And I was kind of in that little cycle, and I had to step away from people like that because I'm like, nope, I'm not educating. And a lot of times people also feel that when we're sharing our stories, we're attention seeking. When we're not, it's more of, I'm doing this to not only help myself heal, I'm doing this to also inspire others. And the last year, so 2021, I feel like we're like light years ahead right now. I also decided to sign up for a trauma recovery coaching certification program because I knew ever since 2014, when I graduated from university with my degree in recreation and leisure, also holding a diploma in recreation and leisure, that I wanted to do something in mental health. And I couldn't find what. And as soon as I started this course and worked with my coach mentor, I realized that I have great self-awareness from just like taking charge of my own healing. I've been able to become more self-aware of what works and what doesn't work anymore for me. And also realizing that I want to help other women like myself. I want to be there with them in the pit to help them with their recovery. So where I am now in my journey is I'm further than where I thought it'd be in. If I didn't take those steps, if I didn't take charge of my own journey, I'd probably be in some job I really hate again, instead of owning my own business. I am the owner of Blossoming from Within. It's trauma recovery services. And that's how Silently Evolving and I actually crossed paths, was through our businesses. And so I help women build their resources and toolkits to help them heal their inner child through recreation and leisure. And at the same time, I'm still taking my healing journey because there's different parts of my abuse that this is how they explain it in my course. Trauma healing is a cycle. And I'm at one point where I am advocating and such on one part of my past, and there's other parts of my past and other abuse that I'm still in denial over. And that's actually perfectly okay. It's okay to be in one stage for one part of your trauma and another stage of another. So by doing this and building my business, it's helping me not only empower myself, but it's also empowering other women to know healing is possible. You are not alone. And that taking steps to recovery takes courage. It takes some big leaps and getting uncomfortable, but it's really worth it because I've had to come out of my comfort zone with my healing. I've had to write things out, and other times when things weren't working, I just turned to other ways to help me heal, because not everyone heals the same way. So meditation doesn't work for everyone. Yoga doesn't work for everyone. Therapy doesn't work for everyone. And so it's all about finding what works for you to help you heal. And that's the basis of my business too, is to help women find what will help them heal. And that's where recreation and leisure come into play, because when you connect with your inner child, so much joy comes out when you're connecting and letting her know it's safe, and just feeling those emotions again of that pure joy and happiness and everything. So my steps in my healing have kind of been like all over the place. I'm someone who will do one thing and then my brain will go off in another direction. Which is okay, because that's my brain. I have an event management background too, so I always have like 5 million ideas going on at once. But I've had to learn to slow down. I've had to learn to also listen to my body, because I also deal with medical trauma, meaning I have chronic illnesses I live with that actually like to beat up on my own body. So it's not easy. So there's days I have to slow down in my healing journey and take steps back. And then there's other days I feel really strong about it. And if you're someone who's going through what I've gone through, or, ready to take a step forward in your healing journey, is I always say be gentle with yourself and be kind. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be messy. You're going to hit denial points. You're going to not want to open doors. And it's okay if there's a door you don't want to open because you know it's going to make you physically sick. Please don't do that. I've been there. And you know what's best for you. So I hope this has helped you, and just know that you are not alone in your journey. And there's always someone beside you walking your way. And that's what I always say to my clients too, is you're not alone. I'm here with you. So thank you.